Here.
Commissioner Waters,
Here.
Commissioner Quinn,
Here.
Commissioner Sarkeesian,
Here.
Chair Goss, Commissioner Swab, and Commissioner Noble are excused. We have a quorum.
So we do. Thank you. Would all please rise for pledge of allegiance? Go ahead, Mike.
Ready? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Approval of minutes?
I move we approve the minutes from the regular meeting
May 15th.
from May 15th, 2024.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consideration of public comments. Those wishing to address the commission should fill out a request, inform in advance. Comments from the public will be restricted to items not on the agenda. There will also be no comments allowed that advertise for a particular person or group. Comments should be limited to no longer than 3 minutes. The commission may not respond to speakers during the call of the public. The commission may direct the staff to study the matter at a request at a further agenda. New business, conditional use permit, case CUP 24-0004, request from Janet.
No, Alec.
Thank you. No, thank you. On behalf of Holden's Auto Service LLC for conditional use permit to allow the outdoor mechanical equipment, 2 car lifts for vehicles repair within the commercial service business, C3 zoning district. The approximate .09 acre site is located on northeast of Airway Avenue and Kenneth Road. Intersection is further described as lots 10, 20 through 24, except a portion of the southwest corner of lot 21, block 3 of the Cayman Airport tract, section 6, township 21 north, range 16 west, with Mojave County Assessor's Parcel, APN 320-06-061A.
Good job.
Well, hope we can keep this a little bit simpler than that introduction. This is a relatively minor item that staff determined needed to have a use permit that been submitted and applied for a previous use. Holden's Auto is currently operating at that intersection of Airway and Kenneth Road. And what they've asked, requested to do, and in fact, they've already installed 2 auto lifts outside of their building to be able to service vehicles out there. What they're asking to do is to be able to provide some kind of a covered structure over that, like a canopy structure. And in doing that, staff determined that they needed to obscure the lifts from public view off of Airway Drive in Kenneth. So they've agreed to do that. There's really not a whole lot to this other than the fact that they want to install those, utilize those auto lifts to be able to conduct the auto repairs that they do on their site.
Any questions of staff?
And we have a presentation if you'd like, but we'll open the
well,
public
we've already-
hearing and allow the applicant to be able to maybe describe it a little bit easier.
Well, thank you, but I know we went over this about 2 months ago or 3 months ago, and so this is just reiteration because of formalities.
No, this
is
is
applicant-
not, no, this item is not, this is a new item. This Holden Auto is, yeah, this is a new item.
You think you want
The
to
next 2 items are the ones that had been previously heard. This is a new application.
Okay, you want the staff to do a presentation or not? Was the applicant here? You need to talk to. You want him to explain it, or?
If you want,
Huh? Yeah, all they want to do is put it,
if you don't need a presentation, I'd just recommend you open the public hearing.
open this to public hearing. you like to come forward, the applicants?
No need, if you guys, if you don't have any questions, no, we're good.
Okay, I'll close the public meeting. Discussion from committee.
Chair, Vice Chair, sorry. I'd like to ask, Mike, I'm sorry, I missed the opportunity to ask you earlier. Did you have a slide that just showed an overview, like an overhead, this location?
Yes, want to go up there and show that slide? Yeah, yes, we do. We have several slides that we can present to you that shows you where it's located, and how these lifts, where they're located on the site, and how they're going to be obscured from you to comply with our design standards.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Just due diligence, just so that we took a look at it
Yeah.
before we approve it.
Thank you.
So here we have a oh, it's not.
Yeah, that's it.
You can enlarge that row so that it gives it a better idea where they're at.
It's the bottom right, Rosa. Right there. Oh.
Bottom right.
Here we go.
Okay.
Here we have a conceptual site plan, which I think is what you were looking for.
Was that aerial a better exhibit for you?
That helps.
Yeah,
There's
show the aerial.
Yeah.
For sure.
There you go.
Yeah, that one there.
Vice Chair, staff, do you know how long this business has been operating in this location? at
The-
present?
The applicant probably, it's been several years since I've.
Yeah, that's been several years.
2000.
Yeah.
That answers
Longer
my
than that.
question. Just seeing it there where the buildings are off a ways from it, the residential improvements, I
Uh-huh.
have no problem.
Like I said, this is an existing use that's been in operation for a long, long time. They're just wanting to alter the way that they're using the property by putting the lifts and then putting a cover over them to be able to service vehicles outside the building.
So the automotive repair and truck service use was established under a business license in 1972.
That's what I thought, yeah.
And in 2002, they established the current configuration.
Yeah. Any other discussion? I'll take a motion.
I'll move to approve the conditional use permit case CUP 24-0004 with any recommendations from staff.
Second.
A motion and a second. All approve?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. Moving on, conditional use permit case CUP-24-003. Request from Jacob Van Cleve from Van Cleve Investment Group, LLC, Mojave Engineering Associates Incorporated, to allow for an RV, boat, and storage facility within the commercial service business C3 zoning district. Approximate 0.65 acres. And site is located at the northeast of the North Pannell Street and Airway Avenue intersection, and is further described as lot 25 through 36, except a portion of lot 25 and lot 25, block 21 of Banks Airport Edition, section 6, township 21 north, range 16 west, APN 320-03-026A.
Yes, Vice Chair Blair, as we had discussed previously, this is an item that the commission had heard at a previous meeting. We were advised by a member of the public that we had not met the required noticing period. We missed it by a day, and therefore in consulting with the city attorney, it was decided that it was best for us to be able to come back and bring this and hold a public hearing with the proper noticing. Like I said, it's an item that you had previously discussed, seen, and acted on, and approved the use permit with the conditions. Nothing has changed on that application. It's the same application, same use permit as was discussed previously. And the applicant here is again to to answer any questions if you have any more of him or of staff. But we're recommending just reapprove a previously approved use permit.
Any discussion from, I'll open this to public hearing. Anyone wishing to come up? Close the public hearing. Commission, I mean, it's a formality, but, so I still need a motion and,
I will move to approve conditional use permit case CUP 24-0003 with any recommendations from staff or anything we discussed in the previous meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All approve?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. All right, conditional use permit, CUP 24-002. Request from Madison Humphreys from Extraordinary Storage LLC, property owner, and Mojave Engineering Associates to allow RV boat and storage facility within a commercial service business, C3 zoning district. The approximate 6.75 acre is located in the northeast of Stockton Hill Road and Sierra Avenue. The intersection is further described as lots 1 through 4, except a portion of the northeast corner block S of the Lake Mojave County Country Club Estates, Unit 3, Section 31, Township 22 North, Range 16 West, APNS 324-10-02-8A, comma, -029-30. Before we go into this, we do have someone opposing this. To whom it may concern, I would like to oppose the proposed reference project to specifically because it will negatively impact the property values and oversaturate the community with this type of industry. Also, wouldn't agree with that. Would be less sales tax revenue from being generated for roads, schools, and government services that a retail center would produce. This location's best use should be permitted for a shopping center, business park, or other retail businesses. Currently, there is 6 similar storage businesses within 3.5 miles of this proposed site and approximately 17 similar businesses together in the city of Kingman. There are no advantages to the surrounding retail businesses having another mini storage. In my opinion, the RV boat and mini storage warehouse facility should be industrial zoned outside the retail corridor. Please do the right thing and consider another use for this 6.75 acres. Staff?
Yes, Vice Chair Blair and Commissioners, this is another one of those items that we had to bring back because it wasn't noticed properly. The Commission previously approved this use. One of the things that has changed, though, on this site is it was 3 parcels in the previous application. The same application, however, now the 3 parcels have been combined into 1 parcel, same ownership. Other than that, the project has not changed. It's the same number of buildings, same type of use, same access to the site. Everything just remains the same as what was previously approved.
Open this public hearing. Anyone wishing to step forward? I'll close the public hearing. Commissioners?
Yeah, so I voiced my opinion last time, right? There's not a big plan on that. I don't disagree if I ever thought in a million years that there would be a nice retail shop there. I just don't see it ever happening. So anybody that wants to spend money to improve any area for any reason, should stop.
Well, I concur with this reasoning here that, I mean, we do have a lot of storage places, and I hate to see it go on Stockton Hill already, because we have the U-Haul right there in the corner, and we got the other one next to them, and then there's supposed to be another one on the other side of the movie theaters. And I don't, just congestion to me was my main concern in this, so.
Vice Chair, I voted against this particular application for And the reasoning was just, it's underutilizing the infrastructure we put in place for Stockton Hill Road. I get that this portion of Stockton Hill Road hasn't really grown over the past, but, Kingman's growing quite a bit. And, it's touted how little traffic this thing would receive. That kind of speaks to it being put in like a more industrial area or maybe a side street, or even Airway is like not off the main drag on Kingman, off the main drag on Kingman. So I'm not in favor of it. I know we went back and forth, me and a few of the other commissioners on here. But,
I apologize, Commissioner Waters, is your mic on?
It is, yeah.
It is? Oh, okay. IT was saying that it was hard to hear, sorry.
Turn your
Just talking
microphone
too
on.
soft, I guess.
Turn your microphone around.
It is.
Just no, right here.
Sorry?
I'll turn it more towards you.
There you go.
Oh, got it. Thank you. Is that better?
Yes.
All right. More commanding. Yeah, so anyway, there are some successful businesses on that strip. There's Sherwin-Williams I go to. There was the Benko Brothers, which we just talked about. They're now a pretty big jewelry store in the area. That, right down the street, there's Star Nursery. I know a lot of us go to these places, so that there is an opportunity for this area to grow. In that particular corner, I could see it being something a little more synergistic with other businesses than just another storage area. And just look down the road. I'm not going to pinpoint the business. I mean, right down the road on the corner of Airway, there's probably the worst case scenario of one of these storage buildings. So I don't know. I'm just going to vote against it again, but that's the reasoning why. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Open for a motion.
I'm going to move to approve the conditional use permit, case number CUP 24-0002, along with any recommendations from staff and anything we discussed in the previous meeting.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Approve?
I approve.
Oppose? Aye.
Aye.
Approve.
Have a roll call, please.
Vice Chair Blair,
Against?
Commissioner Waters,
Against.
Commissioner Quinn,
Approve.
Commissioner Sarkeesian.
Approve.
Okay, we
Motion
have a tie-
failed.
Yeah, we have a tie vote, so we go to city council that way. Moving on, abandonment case AB-24-001. Request from David P. Tibbet from the Tibbet Family Trust to vacate a 50-foot wide water line right-of-way dedicated to the lot of City of Kingman by Mohave County through docket 46, page 297-298. The right-of-way is approximately 615 foot in length, 30,750 square feet in area, and bisects the property located at 1929 Morrill Avenue, APN 320-05010E, from the northeast corner to the southwest corner. Staff?
Yes, Vice Chair Blair and Commissioners, this is kind of an interesting application that staff didn't realize it needed to come to the Planning and Zoning Commission until we read through the city's regulations, street regulations, that we have to have the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend the approval to the City Council on an abandonment such as this. This is an old water service line that's called the Hackberry Water Line that has been out of service for many, many, many years. It just happens to run diagonally right through the middle of this property on Morrow that the Tibbets own. They just want to be able to utilize that unused easement and asking that it be abandoned by the city. One of the conditions that we have on that for that to happen when it goes to the City Council for final action and approval is that we would have to have a legal description, so a surveyor would have to provide that to us, as well as an appraisal, a current appraisal of what the land value is worth for that portion of that lot that this easement is located on. So they would just have to get an appraisal for that portion that they're asking to be abandoned and then provide compensation to the city for that to happen.
I must be under, I thought, you dedicate, when you own the property, you dedicate your property already for the right-of-ways. Now, my thinking is, why should he have to pay for the property he already owns and dedicated? He's already paid for the property and dedicated the right-of-ways.
I would have to maybe defer to legal counsel on that. That's just, but my experience is that when there's rights-of-way or easements that extend into a piece of property, the property owner has that on their title, that they can build on their property, but not into that easement or right-of-way that's owned by another entity. In this case, it would be the city of Kingman. This has not been in use for many, many years. This is just a formality for that abandonment to be able to take place, and that's a procedure for that to happen.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Open this public hearing. Is the applicant here? Okay. Close public hearing. Commissioners?
Vice Chair, if I could address staff really quick, I'm sorry, we kind of went through there really fast. Normally, I've noticed the presentation is the format's a little different. Usually we go through a kind of an extended PowerPoint. Is it more consolidated tonight just because we have so many items, or?
Well, part of it is because a couple of those items, they're relatively simple, and we didn't know if the commission wanted to go through the full presentation. We're prepared to do that. If you want to see a full PowerPoint presentation, staff is prepared to do that for you. Two of those items had been heard previously. That's why we thought we would condense the time that we would have to be able to conduct this meeting, especially since we have a short commission tonight. But there again, we are prepared to provide the PowerPoint presentation to you and give you the information that you may need if you have questions about these items. Staff is prepared that and can give you more of the lowdown on what has taken place on this. These are relatively simple items, we thought, and so we're trying to just keep it as condensed as possible.
Well, thank you, Mike. Yeah, I'm a visual person, probably a few other commissioners are too, and just seeing the maps and, as part of the overview helps a bit.
Yeah. And
so I would appreciate it.
Amy will come up and she'll present those maps to you so that you can see where we're talking about and what we're talking about.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
No problem. Well, the only reason I know is because I know the property and everything.
No, do you? Yeah. They just had her routed. I just want to see where it is.
So that's the right-of-way in question there in yellow. It kind of bisects the property diagonally. There's an aerial image of it. So, as stated before, the Hackberry water line is no longer in use. So several portions of it adjacent to this property have already been abandoned. And, there's no utilities other than that water line that's not in use, and it doesn't provide access to the subject site or any other parcels adjacent to. Here's some images of the site and the signs that we posted there. We sent out to external agencies a request for comment, and there were no comments from any of the local utility companies. I also reached out to BLM and other agencies who also had no objection to it. And referring to state statute and our streets and sidewalks regulations, we saw no issue with the vacation of the right-of-way. Following previous abandonments, we are requesting that the applicant get an appraisal by a licensed appraiser, and that the appraisal shall be for the highest market value of said property, and then the city would be compensated at that rate. And upon receipt of compensation, the city would record an associated resolution vacating the property to the abutting property owner. And the reason for the need for the appraisal and compensation is that although the city didn't pay for it, Mojave County did, and Mojave County gave it to the city. So per state statute, when there was some kind of financial transaction involved, that the owner of the right-of-way would be compensated.
Okay.
I don't know if you wanted to see any of those images again.
You see the overhead one?
No. Yeah.
So that's the line.
Yeah, it bisects his property.
Yeah, that area down the center of the parcel that runs diagonally, that's that portion of that water line easement. But it,
He used to have a tree, he used to do trees and stuff there, landscape.
and just as an example, if this property owner, with this easement in place, if they applied for any kind of building permits to put structures in that, within that easement, we wouldn't be able to allow that. This will enable them to be able to develop that property in a whole, in its entirety.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think you can see the adjacent portion on this map that was previously abandoned.
Was it down that way?
Yeah, that's what it used to be,
Just having
nursery,
trouble placing
trees and everything.
it in the backyard.
Any other questions of staff?
No, I have no other questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the applicant here? Open the public meeting. Any comments? Seeing none, close public meeting. Commissioners, any discussion?
Seems straightforward.
I need a motion.
You want to do this one?
Yeah, might as well get one under my belt. Yeah, let me get it. Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve, let's see. Oh, okay. Abandonment case AB 24-0001, with staff recommendations.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on. Request from James Bay on behalf of MAC Investments LLC to rezone from rural residential RR to commercial service business C3 for proposed fitness facility. The approximate 9.95 acre site is located southwest of Bank Street and Coronado Avenue intersection and is further described as a portion of Lot 1, Block 1 of Lake Mojave County Club Estates, Unit 2, First Amendment, Section 6, Township 21 North, Range 16 West, APN 320-04-062A. Staff?
Yes, Vice Chair Blair and Commissioners, this is a rezone case for, to rezone this parcel that's at the southwest corner of Coronado and Bank Street from rural residential to C3 for a proposed fitness use facility. Currently, the CrossFit fitness facility is operating on Bank Street north, closer to the high school, that I believe is where they're currently located. They would like to be able to build a new facility on this site. However, it's going to have to be rezoned to the commercial use, which is consistent with the land use designation in the general plan for that frontage along Bank Street. And in fact, this city staff will be coming forward with direction from the council to have all of those parcels that front along Bank Street between Keno and Gordon to be rezoned to commercial use, to be consistent with the land use designation that's on that. All of those parcels that front Bank Street are intended to be commercial uses, but some of them, there's still about 9 or 10 of them that still have an RR zoning designation on them. So that this applicant, in order to be able to build their facility, would have to rezone it from a rural residential use to a commercial use, so C3 in this case, so they can build that new fitness facility on that, at that corner.
I thought, because I've been on the commission before when we did the 2020 plan, and we inherited some of that property from Bank Street clear to Roosevelt. It was the county, and we adopted it into the city. And I thought when we did that, everything on Bank Street on both sides, with 200 feet on either side, clear down to Gordon, was C3. Maybe I'm mistaken.
That's on the land use designation, the zoning map didn't change. The zoning wasn't changed on those parcels. The zoning was changed on the parcels at Front Bank Street between Airway and Keno. However, there's still a number of parcels that that Front Bank Street between Keno and Gordon, where the city limit ends, that were not, that still retain our rural residential zoning designation.
Thank you.
As you recall, we had another application just several weeks ago for the corner of Bank Street and Keno, and we had that storage facility there. And that use permit has not been applied for yet. However, that rezone did take place. And like I said, the intent is to rezone all those parcels at Front Bank Street to commercial zoning to be consistent with the land use designation.
Thank you. Any other questions of staff?
And we are prepared for a presentation if you'd like to see one.
Vice Chair, staff, is this, we just talked about this, is this part of the 2030 general plan to make this whole strip?
The 2030 general plan did show the land use designation is being commercial from, that fronts Bank Street, that's the Bank Street design corridor.
Yep.
The new general plan, if it's approved with the general election in November, would just continue that same designation, the land use designation. This is just going to, what staff is attempting to do at council's direction is to formalize that so that all these parcels that front Bank Street along that corridor are going to have a commercial zoning designation. And this is an application to do that so that the applicant can move forward with developing the property.
Yeah, but you're right, it was in 2030. Any other discussions? Open
So
to the
before
public
you open
hearing?
the public hearing, would you like staff to be able to present the aerials in the PowerPoint? If it's helpful for you, we can certainly do that.
Vice Chair, I always do, but
No, that's no problem.
staff, yeah, if you want to make a consolidated one for my benefit, then
No, you're fine.
We can at least show you the aerials and show you where it's located. And
Yeah, there's a nice picture in the plan of the general plan. Yep.
I can't pull it up.
Yeah, it's a 1 acre site, just under an acre on the corner. It's on the southwest corner of Bank and Coronado.
This is the area of the property here, just on the corner there, and then below you see Journey Church to the bottom right of the screen there, and then there's an office right above that. And you can see there's mostly vacant land around it. There's some single-family homes to the top left and across the street there, and they're zone rural residential as well. You can see the zoning here. The property outlined in black is the property in question. Currently, it is rural residential, and they want to change to C3. So you can see the other C3 properties on there. There's a C2 across the street. That's where that office is. And then you can see the other rural residential properties along Bank Street that have yet to be switched over to C3. This is the general plan land use designation. You can see that one has already been designated for commercial. However, the zoning doesn't currently match at the time. This is just noting where the utilities are. So if they were to develop, they have access there to the water main and the sewer. And based on the regulations, they're probably going to be required to pave there on Coronado Avenue. It's not a topic of discussion at the rezone stage, but through the process, that's probably something that's going to be required from engineering. This just talks about the suitability. It's going to add 1 acre of C3 zoning. It conforms with the general plan designation. It benefits the community by the provided improvements. And the site will be suitable for the anticipated commercial fitness facility. It's relatively flat with a 1.2% slope, so there's no major hills or anything. So the recommendation is to approve the rezone. There's no proposed conditions, as rezones are usually just effective after they're approved.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Any other questions of staff? Open this up to public hearing. Any comments from the public?
And I believe the applicant is here to speak.
Is the applicant here and like to address the council committee? All right, thank you. I'll close the public committee. Discussion from the commission?
Well, I was just gonna say, that's what this land is supposed to be for, commercial use. A gym would be nice. That area is very underdeveloped.
I agree.
Yeah, well, no, that's when we did the, because we're trying to take some of the stuff off of Stockton Hill, and that's when we did Bank Street all the way from Airway clear up to Gordon.
Yep.
And, because we did it, well, you saw the red there, that's it's almost 200 feet from the center line, both sides. So that gives them room for C3 zoning there, so.
Well, I will motion to approve rezone case RZ 24-001 with any recommendations from staff.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those approve?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on. All right, discussions regarding meeting day, time, and frequency. At June 11th, 2024, City Council work session, the council requested the staff bring back an agenda item to their next commission meetings for the commission's consideration and opinion to adjust their meeting day, time, and frequency if necessary. At this time, the Planning and Zoning Committee meets monthly, the second Wednesday, 5 p.m. If changing your day, time, and frequency is desired, please provide your top 3 choices, ranking order, consideration, discussion, and possible action. I know when you brought this up last month, we decided to stay on Wednesdays. That was all the consent agenda on Wednesdays, second Wednesdays, but moving it back to 5:30.
Yes,
There
if I
was
may-
talk of moving it back.
If I may interrupt, Vice Chair Biller and Commission, yes, is at the end of the last meeting, we had some discussion about what the best time and day were for this commission to meet. There was some discussion about moving the meeting time back from 5 o'clock. Unfortunately, I inappropriately stated that we could do that just on that discussion. However, it really needs to have council action. The council needs to make the recommendation as to when the meetings can occur. That's why we've been asked, all the departments in the city have been asked to reach out to their commissions and boards to see if there's other alternate times and dates that they may choose to meet rather than the ones that we've had. I know historically, the Planning and Zoning Commission had met previously before I got here on the second Tuesday of the month. However, because of conflicts with city council meetings, special city council meetings and work sessions that generally occur on Tuesdays, it was decided to move the planning and zoning meetings to Wednesdays at 5 o'clock. This is an opportunity to be able to reconsider that if we'd like. There are some options to maybe have meetings during the daytime and having lunch provided. There was discussions about whether or not it was appropriate to pay staff overtime or comp time to be able to attend these night meetings. So that's why we're having this going through this exercise to determine if there's some other days and times that the commission would like to meet, or if your preference is to just keep it on Wednesday evenings at a specific time, then we'd like the feedback from you, and that's the reason for having this discussion.
5:15.
Yeah, Vice Chair and staff. There were a couple concerns. It seems like it was 2 different directions we were headed. One was the date, and I seem to recall Tuesday was acceptable. Like maybe the special sessions for city council had moved to the second Tuesday, but then it was no longer on the second Tuesday. So maybe my memory isn't too good there. Anyway, regardless, it interfered with my Boy Scouts, so, I'm fine with Wednesday. The other side of it, though, I can tell you that it's tough to get from work to here when we you know, the county shuts up at 5 o'clock, so if it could be 5:15, that would make things easier, and further, it might help more people participate by, you know, getting on this commission, or other commissions, you know, if you do it just a little bit after 5, because there's other people that work, you know, straight up to 5 o'clock.
And the city clerk is here to maybe clarify some of what I wasn't able to.
She jumped right in there.
Mr. Rodriguez did a great job, Vice Chair Blair, commissioners. So the discussion came up because there were a couple of commissions that had requested a possible consideration of changing their day, time, or frequency of meetings. It was brought forth that the Planning and Zoning Commission specifically would like the option to meet at 5:30. Tuesdays were set aside for council to kind of have them have that day available for their meetings. But during that discussion with the council about boards and commissions, if Tuesday was better suited or more preferable, they were open to taking that into consideration. What was provided in your backup should have been a list of all of the commission's current meeting schedules, so that when you are thinking about maybe putting forth a recommendation or a request to the council to take into consideration, that you can see when the other commissions are meeting. So far, those have not changed, so that is still pretty accurate. If you are content with keeping your meetings on the second Wednesday and only want to bring forth that you would prefer to have it at a 5:30 start time, then we can most certainly bring that recommendation back to council. This won't, any of the things that we're discussing will not take effect immediately, as we're going to compile all of the commission's requests, see how that lines out, bring it to council with the code changes that are being proposed for boards and commissions, and then so it will be later, I would say later this year, when all of the commissions have had an opportunity to meet and have those discussions. If you do request something tonight, though, I would just ask that you please do that in a formal action. And if you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer those as well.
Because that was our discussion last month when we had this, is that we had a full quorum then. But I think if I remember right, everybody said Wednesdays, because we're used to Wednesdays now, but just moved it back to 5:30, and everybody can, you know, so even the lady said it would help them also. I know you work at the county, so.
And I think we just have to formally request whatever we want. I'm pretty open.
Right.
Tuesdays and Wednesdays,
We had to
so,
discuss it, and then.
Yeah. I'm open Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 5:15. You know, we don't want to be here till 8 o'clock either, if we could avoid it, so.
We never have.
Yeah.
Not like we used to be.
That's late one. I would recommend 5:15. I know it's kind of an odd time, but
Yeah, no, that's
yeah,
kind of.
I'd like to get home for dinner, you know, that type of thing.
Because I believe, remember the lady said 5:30 would work better for them also, so, but, you know, it's up,
Okay, well,
and they're not here to, but if it was back up in the minutes, I believe it was 5:30 though.
yeah, I remember Chair Goss and someone else on the board, they had a pretty strong opinion on, I thought it was changing to Tuesday, but again, I'm not remembering right, apparently.
There
So
was
if
one.
we could check the,
There was only one of them, I believe it was on
Yeah,
Tuesday.
one was on Tuesday. I don't remember who, but.
okay.
But I believe everyone else was on Wednesdays, because we're used to that now. And moving it back to 5:30.
Well, if we could consult the minutes and find out who said what, that might help, because we're pretty thin today, you know?
You could also bring forth two proposals, so to have council consider possibly having it start at 5:15 or 5:30, they can both be taken into consideration. The other part of that I wanted to mention specifically for this commission is there was thought that maybe this commission needed to meet more frequently, or wanted to meet more frequently. And I just wanted to let you know that it is currently written in the code that you can call additional meetings if necessary. So you don't necessarily need to change your meeting frequency, because you do have that option.
Yeah, well, I remember from past history that it was always once a month, but then we had several items come up, Walmart, Some of the other ones, we did like 2 or 3 times a month. So, but I understand. But that was just called for, but you have to do that when you,
Yeah, Vice Chair, just for the record, I never agreed to Wednesday myself. I've always been for us going back to our old
Tuesdays.
Tuesday at 5 o'clock. I think we could show a little bit of flexibility for Commissioner Waters' sake, and 5:15 would be agreeable. But the main consideration for me is getting back to Tuesday.
Vice Chair, I'd like to make a separate independent recommendation to the city council that we start our Planning and Zoning Commission hearings, meetings at 5:15 PM going forward. I'm not sure if that's worded correctly, but that's what I'm going to say.
What day?
I'm leaving that open, whatever day we meet.
So if
it
I
can be
could,
separate.
if we could get that in the form of a motion, right? Because it needs to be a unified vote of the commission to send forth the proposals, that would be fantastic. And they can be separate. You can do one for the time and one for the day separately if you want to do so.
Okay. Vice Chair, I move that we recommend to the city council that whatever day that we have our meetings, for the Planning and Zoning Commission meetings, that we start them at 5:15 PM.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to add something. We were asked to make that change, and that was implemented pretty quickly, within a month. We are being told now that if we decide to make a change, is there a time frame?
I believe it's after all of the commissions have had an opportunity to go through this exercise, because if we are shifting days and times, we need to make sure there's no conflicts.
I mean, we made our sacrifice quickly. It just seems like we're being, being drug out here a little bit. What are we looking at? A month? Are we looking at 2 months, 3 months?
City.
So I think it really just kind of depends, because we're going to wait and see, obviously we have to wait and see what the other commissions are talking about. Then we have to change some city code. In that city code, I have to rewrite it. It has to go to council, and it takes 30 days from that date for it to go into effect. So you're talking, it's going to be a few months.
Okay.
So it's not going to be next week.
But when we entered into that agreement, it happened pretty quickly.
It happened real fast.
And I think it ought to happen that way for us this time.
I completely understand, and some of that timing, like say, has to go with changing the ordinance, that we're not going to change until we get everybody on board, as well as when you're making these changes, you already have publication notices, so that's going to take into effect. I know it's only 15 days publication notice, but because of the way the paper publishes things, there's a bunch of moving parts we have to jump into. So like I say, I would suspect that this is going to be late fall when this is happening.
I would think that the next time we're asked for a favor, that we consider it a little bit more carefully.
We didn't have much choice in that. I want to bring up a point. Would we have to wait to move the time back 15 minutes? If we just move, not the day, but just the time to start with?
I don't think the time's going to be a major concern, so I think that's something that staff can address.
Right, we still have a motion on the table, too.
Right, well, we got to, yeah, that's the reason I was getting at that, Mike. That's the reason I asked that, so.
Yeah, as long as you're still in the current date, I think if you're shifting the time by
Yeah,
15
that's
minutes,
what
you're not going to affect.
that's what his motion is,
Yeah.
keep the date the same, but just move the time back 15 minutes.
And again, I think whatever publications are out there, because it's going to say a date.
It's going to have to take a
So
month,
it-
I
it-
understand that,
It
yeah.
might take, maybe not, it might be a meeting or two before that can go into effect. And I'd say not too shortly behind that will be the rest of the changes we're looking at.
Thank you.
And I apologize for past administrations changing, maybe
We
without
had
so
no
much
choice in that.
consideration.
I mean, it was now. Next month, we're off. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor motion and a second to keep the dates the same right now with proposal for moving it back to 5:15. Is that correct?
Just for clarification, you want to keep it, you're saying we're going to keep it on Wednesday?
Just
So-
for right now, it's just the time. It's
Just
two
to
separate
clarify, the motion was to move it to 5:15. It had nothing to do with the day. So you're first
Right,
voting
just keep-
on just the time.
things. Yes, that's what you suggested. Yeah, it's just keeping the day the same right now, but just moving it back to 5:15.
Sorry, we're being a little pedantic, and I apologize. So the motion on the floor is, you're not discussing the day. You're just discussing the time.
Yes,
So that's the first motion. Once you finish that, then if you want to have a separate discussion on days, then you can do that.
right.
So,
Yes,
sorry.
that was our suggestion, thank you. Okay, we have a motion to change the time only, keep the date the same, moving it back to 5:15. All approve?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carries to move the date, or time, back to 5:15. Motion carried, so forward that to the city council. Okay, now, do you guys want to discuss the day, or just, he's already said the days are going to take several months to change that, but if you want to change the day, or we can just leave it the same.
Vice Chair, my memory is not good enough for me to recall exactly which commissioner was in favor of this and who wasn't. You know, I remember there was a little bit of a strong discussion.
He was against it, and then one of the ladies was.
Well, I know Chair Goss had a strong opinion. Honestly, I can't recall what it was.
I thought she wanted to keep it on Wednesdays.
Did she?
think.
See, again, if I could just have clarification on that, it would help me
Because she
make a
said-
decision in her absence, you know?
Right.
Thanks.
If I might add, and I'll defer to the
Well, we can-
city attorney and the city clerk if need be, could we just go ahead and have on the next agenda for the next meeting?
That's what I was just
a-
gonna
A
say.
discussion when we have a full commission for them to be able to decide on a day that they would like to meet? Why don't we can do that, we can just, since we've already determined what the start date, or the start time is gonna be moved back to 5:15, at the next meeting, when we hopefully have a full commission.
Yeah, that's
we could have everybody weigh in on what would be the preferred day to be able to meet.
Right, that's item number 5, request for future agendas. That's what I was gonna suggest.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions on this? All right. Item number 4, announcements by commissioners and members. Limited to announcements, availability or attendance at conferences, seminars, requests for agenda items for future meetings, and requests for reports from staff. No discussion on any of these items.
Vice Chair Blair, I would just like to address Councilman Ward, to extend my thanks to the City Council for commissioning our body. You know, no matter what day we meet on, I really appreciate having the opportunity to serve on Planning and Zoning Commission. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to see, we'll have a full commission next month, hopefully, to discuss the days, because the time's going to be set, but just the days of when the meetings are going to be. That's just for agenda item. Any other discussion? Meeting adjourned.